Have you ever opened your wallet for your child, not because they asked, but just because you felt for them? But do you know that very act could leave you short for next month's medicine and stop your child ever learning to stand strong? Month after month, your retirement account balance keeps dwindling. You start hesitating to buy a new pair of shoes, start cutting back on doctor appointments, and wonder, am I doing the right thing? You are not alone. Many parents over 65 continue providing for their adult children, not because they are wealthy, but because they love them too much. But sometimes loving the wrong way does more harm than you think. I know it is hard to refuse when your child is in need, but have you ever asked yourself, does it slow their maturing? Are you taking away their chance to learn to stand alone just because you want to be their support forever? Aging is already a journey of many changes. If prolonged financial burdens are added, you will be exhausted without realizing it. In this video, I will share 7 hard truths about giving money to adult children and why, after a certain age, you should stop, not from selfishness, but for yourself and for your children's true future. Let us begin. The first truth: excessive financial help makes children dependent. The first time I gave my child $500, they thanked me profusely. The second, they just texted, "Can mom help?" The third time, a silent transfer request. I realized I was no longer a support, but a human ATM. I used to think helping my children was never wrong. The older one bought a car, I lent money. The younger lacked tuition, I provided. They said they would repay, but then I said, never mind. I was happy being their support, but gradually I saw them leaning more than standing. Not because they are bad, but because I had done it for them too long. After 60, many of us become an interest-free bank for our children. They ask, we give. They need, we help. But if that help repeats without clear boundaries, it is no longer love, but dependence. According to a TIAA Institute survey in the United States, over 50% of seniors still regularly provide financial support to adult children, and nearly 30% say they feel their children are dependent. They help from affection, but in return get disappointment. I remember my friend Clara telling me her son asked for a little each month, sometimes for electricity, sometimes rent. Initially, she thought, he's struggling. If I have it, I will help. But gradually, he stopped trying to manage. Even when he got a raise, he still didn't stop asking his mother because he was used to it. Clara said after 2 years, she had to withdraw from her retirement fund. And then she hid that truth, not wanting her son to feel guilty, but the one who suffered was her. As for me, after once helping my child pay credit card debt with no reciprocation, I started realizing helping children should be an example, not a bottomless pit. I switched to helping with advice, experience, and if there was support, there had to be a clear plan, an end date, and no impact on my financial health. If you are opening your wallet every time your child calls, ask yourself truly, is this helping or nurturing a habit of dependence? Let your child truly grow up by stopping at the right time, not because you love less, but because you want them stronger. Because love does not mean shouldering all adult lessons children must learn. The second truth: your retirement is eroding month by month. Each time you give money to your child is a cut from your own survival fund. I once had a small savings account. Each time I drew my pension, I set aside a part, my peace fund. But then my child needed car repairs. Grandchild needed music lessons. The youngest lost their job. I withdrew gradually. Not large sums, but regularly. And looking back, I was startled. That account had hardly anything left. I do not blame my children, nor do I regret it. But I started to worry, because if next month I get sick or need minor surgery, I am not sure I will have enough. Many seniors like me fail to notice. Retirement finances are like an oil lamp. Burn a little, it lasts long. Burn a lot, it is soon gone. Each time you help a child without a plan is like draining oil from that lamp. No one notices right away, but when you need it, it is finished. According to AARP, nearly 30% of Americans over 65 are cutting personal spending or delaying retirement just due to excessive financial support for adult children. They are not bankrupt, but they live with less security, just so their children can live easier a bit. I remember old Mr. Thomas, my neighbor, once said, "I paid for my 3 grandkids' driving lessons. Now they are all working. But I had to sell my car because I couldn't afford to fix it." He said he was not sad, but I saw in his eyes a very real disappointment. That changed my perspective. Retirement money is not to give away freely. It is your safety blanket when no other income source exists. If there is a surplus, I am willing to share. But if it touches that blanket, I will stop. Because when I am stable, my children will not have another dependent. I started tracking monthly expenses, set a clear limit, help within my means, not touching my retirement funds. And crucially, I learned to say no, gently but firmly, because I knew it was my right to live peacefully. If you are secretly dipping into retirement to patch things up for your children, please stop a moment and ask yourself, who will care for you if you have nothing left? Helping children is love, but keeping enough for yourself is wisdom. The third truth, children do not learn financial independence. Helping a child pay debt once is compassion. The third time, you are robbing them of their ability to self-manage. I used to think, if I do not help, my children will struggle so much. So when the older one overspent on their credit card, I paid. When the younger was jobless for a month, I sent money immediately. And so I thought I was doing the right thing. Until one day my child called, voice familiar, "Mom, this month end I will probably be short again." At that moment, I froze because I suddenly realized my child was more used to asking than finding ways to manage. After reaching adulthood, if children always have a financial safety net, they rarely develop money management skills, long-term planning, or take responsibility for their own financial mistakes. According to a Fidelity Investment survey, over 60% of young Americans who regularly got financial help from parents after 25 admitted they did not know how to budget or save long-term. I remember my friend Shirley, a few years older, said her 40-year-old daughter still lives month to month, essentially spending as she goes. Because for 15 years, Shirley always bailed her out whenever she slipped up or faced hardship. She said she is not living miserably, but she has not matured much either. That made me reevaluate how I help my child. I started asking, what is your plan to manage? Before giving money, I suggested, Mom can help you budget, but Mom cannot be your rescuer every time. Initially, my child seemed sad, but gradually they learned to find side jobs, sell some old things. And then for the first time in years, they said, "Mom, this month I am okay." I was not happy because I saved money. I was happy because I saw my child truly growing. If you are also the backup wallet when your child faces trouble, please pause, not to withdraw love, but to give your child a chance to truly mature. Because sometimes what children need most is not money, but believing they can manage, and that you believe it too. The next truth, a lifesaver delays their responsibility. When they know someone will always catch them, your child will not feel the need to step firmly. I used to believe, if I do not catch them, my child will fall. So every time my child called about difficulties, I would step in. No hesitation, no waiting. I did everything so my child would not suffer even a little more. But then I realized, precisely because they knew I would rescue them, my child gradually stopped proactively managing. It is not that they do not know how to live, but they have never truly needed to be fully responsible. In American society, there is a concept psychologists call a financial enabler. Parents who unintentionally delay their child's financial maturity through repeated acts of help. According to Merrill Lynch research, 1 in 3 seniors financially supports children over 30 at least quarterly. And most kids in this group significantly delay big decisions, buying homes, investing, or planning their own retirement. I have a friend, Julia Tham, who said her son once told her, "I do not need insurance yet. If anything happens, Mom can help." Hearing that was heartbreaking. Julie said, "I thought I gave my child peace of mind, but I was actually making him forget the responsibility of owning his life." I was like that. My youngest had credit debt. I paid. He said he would sort it out slowly. That slowly lasted 3 years. Not because he could not do it, but because he knew mom was still there. Realizing that, I started changing my approach. I stopped rescuing immediately. Instead, I would ask, how do you plan to handle this? I waited for my child to try on their own. Then, if truly needed, I would support partly, with conditions, with a deadline. Strangely, when I removed that lifesaver, my child started learning to truly swim. He got a side job, learned personal finance, and for the first time sent me a small amount to repay gradually. Not large, but for me, that was an adult's first step. If you are still the lifesaver when your child cannot manage, try stepping back. Not to let your child flounder, but for them to realize water is only deep to those who will not learn to swim. And sometimes not helping immediately is precisely the best lifelong help. The fifth truth, your debt grows and they do not know. You give out of love, but silently carry the debt. I once secretly used my credit card to help my child with rent, then hospital fees for my grandchild, then a bit for my child's car repair. I told no one. I thought, well, I can manage for now. But then interest grew. The debt piled up. Each month I only paid the minimum. And one day, I realized I was deeper in debt than ever, just from helping my child too much, without ever speaking up. My child still thought I was well off, still smiled, asking for more, and I, fearing my child would worry, still forced a smile, saying, "It is okay, dear." Many seniors face this situation. They lend to children, grandchildren, without recording, calculating, or sharing. According to a CFPB report, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau of the United States, nearly 40% of people 65 plus have credit card or consumer loan debt from financially helping relatives. Nearly half say their children do not know they are in debt. I remember an elderly woman, Maria, living with her daughter and two grandkids. She did not work, only had her pension. But loving her daughter, she secretly took a loan to help pay her grandkids' school fees. When interest rates changed, the debt grew quickly. She could not repay. Only when debt collectors called did her daughter find out. And then an almost unbridgeable silence fell between them. I did not want that for me. So I started clearly writing down what I had helped with. I did not demand repayment, but I recorded it. Not to keep score, but for transparency. And I told my child the truth. Mom helped you with this, and mom is paying interest. My child was surprised, but then came gratitude. My child stopped asking, found extra work, then proactively repaid a part. Not much, but I saw my child growing and my burden easing. If you are helping children, grandchildren with money you do not truly have, please do not be silent. That silence pushes you into a debt spiral, one your children do not know about, nor can they help you escape in time. Giving is precious, but some clarity ensures you are respected and helps your child see that love should not mean silent sacrifice. The sixth truth, giving money at the wrong time damages relationships. Money given at the wrong moment can destroy years of respect. I used to give my child money when I saw them sad, when they sulked at their spouse, when they quit work from pressure. I thought money will make them suffer less, worry less. But then, after the third time, my child got angry when I stopped. They said, "Mom helps outsiders but is stingy with me." At that moment, I was speechless, not from regretting the money, but because I felt my intentions were misunderstood. I began to see money, if given at the wrong time for the wrong reason, not only does not help, but it also warps the parent-child bond. When a child learns that just being sad gets money, just complaining gets help, then gradually they stop appreciating that support. They see it as an entitlement. And when that is broken, anger, hurt, and resentment surface. According to a 23 Forbes Advisor survey, nearly 1/3 of adults who got financial help from parents said it made relationships more complicated, especially with siblings. Why? Because money lacked transparency and emotions were bottled up. I remember my friend Helen said after giving her daughter $5,000 for a startup, their relationship soured. not due to failure, but because her daughter felt mom was meddling when she asked about business progress. And Helen felt disrespected when her daughter was not clear about how the money was used. As for me, since I set clear boundaries, if my child needs something, they must explain why. I do not refuse love, but I will ask, what is it for? How much can mom help? Can you repay it? And only if the answer reassures me do I help. Not because I am calculating, but because I want to keep our relationship honest. If you are giving money to keep peace, soothe emotions, or to buy temporary calm, be careful. Because true affection does not need money as glue, and money used wrongly will silently drive you apart. Choose your moment, choose your method, and choose to keep respect, not pave the way for misunderstanding with money given in silence. And the final truth, you are stealing their chance to grow up. Loving your child and helping with everything unintentionally steals their own chance to mature. I used to think parenting means protecting. Child erred, I fixed. Child lacked, I compensated. Tired, I sheltered. But one day when my child was confused by a financial aid form, they asked, "Can mom fill it for me?" Yeah, I suddenly realized they no longer knew how to manage alone, not because they were incapable, but because I had done too much for them. At 60, 70, we often think, I am still strong. If I can help, I will. But after 30, 40, excessive help makes children lose skills, confidence, and valuable lessons they should have learned. According to Psychology Today research, adults continually rescued by parents tend to delay big decisions, avoid responsibility, and struggle with solid self-esteem. Because when facing difficulties, instead of confronting them, they turn back, seeking someone to carry the burden. I saw that with my neighbor's grandson, 35, smart, degree educated, but every job change, he asked his grandma for money. Reason: I want to choose the right job, so I am taking months off to think. Sounded legitimate, but after 3 such times, she admitted, I let him think failure always has a fallback. As for me, I started thinking differently. When my child faced hardship, I did not give money immediately. I asked, have you thought of any solutions? I suggested, but did not do it for them, ready to stand behind, but not in their place. And from such times, I saw my child learn to call banks, negotiate, refuse needless spending, and dare to step forward alone. Then I felt happy not just because my child was stronger, but because I had returned their most important right, to mature. If you help your child every time they retreat, please reconsider. Are you perhaps blocking the lesson life is teaching? And sometimes the most precious parental lesson is stepping back far enough for the child to step forward alone. Not everyone is born mature, but everyone needs a chance to grow. Please do not take that away, even from love. We always want to do the best for our children, but sometimes the best thing is not in checks or midnight money transfers, but in giving them the belief they are capable enough to manage independently. You have raised your children half a lifetime. At some point, you deserve to rest, and your children, no matter their age, also need to learn true adulthood from difficulties you cannot solve for them. No one wants to see their children struggle, but no one wants to see themselves exhausted in their final years, just for always saying yes too long. You can still help, but with advice, encouragement, unconditional love, not with a savings account dwindling monthly. If this video got you thinking, drop a comment below. You are not alone, and your story might give someone else courage to say no for the first time. And if you found this helpful, why not share it with a friend? Because sometimes a parent's clarity is the best gift for the next generation. Thanks for watching with all your parent heart.